Afraid you'll be a dance as a Virgin Mary or Honoma, Joseph and now Continental Bama Joseph Kakoko at the Amano, and my James Nakopo Yard 25th of December 2025. Yabawu Yesu and Namaye. Sasun Attorney General Cha, and also the Chama to be Continental because Yahu Yesu, na yesi New Year Mua, Chama to be a wasam for Nasa no, or per se, the signs and symptoms. It's the NYA press conference. I have Gossip 24. I owe you an editorial on Mr. Kwabule Dubois, any attorney general issues. No, maybe I could do because now a court document. Be finally, yes, I can name no Samsung for SC Omo owe you a special festive season. In the same way, almost smart devices, no smartphones, no almost swat this to you, almost a swat this so. Your boy who they rule November, no more toy, almost December is one tough fan child of war. It is Samsung for a special promo from now to 31st of December. 2025 MSA any Samsung device be your target be no we phone the kita on the screen that pie switch it cause Samsung visit the website www.samsung.com. It's here go straight to come on now. Attorney General press conference in there. Attorney General press conference no of focus on inipa mienu they say inipa mienu baako Mr. Kofi Akpaloo, leader and founder of LPG and abaako and so chairman Wontumi and so that himself and Mr. Bernard Siako. Now when him say already know Mr. Bernard Siako chairman Wontumi any attorney general issues on the side of that. But this time around attorney general say Omo investigate chairman Wontumi beyond the illegal mining and irresponsible mining any your forest on beyond that. But when he about program beer just say omo for illegal miners say ombejai illegal mining no nanka oma find alternative livelihood. Now for you to understand it better no once they be ayeka say omo moye galamsey no omo ni adwuma nti aban create adwuma any ade. It's on record say in the year 2017 right the Minerals Development Fund and the program be a buy and this is an article our Minerals Development Fund on websites or honomo our program no mutu ni say alternative livelihood development program. Now some program we are rolling it out first phase in the year 2017 no omo ye ni sene be ya senke bia obi wo krobi so no ye galamsey a ombetumi ebie company na o mabase wo sisi a ebe ja galamsey na eba be ye kua na omo ye kua na ya mo musika ebi a mo mfudie mfuo mu nioma na mo de ayekua no waje sisi na be galamsey no mbegya to no manya an alternative livelihood. Say a processing on person will go through so a fertilizer on person will distribute say they are ye bofo to the to no ma bejibusia e de akoye adwuma no metua busia ne so kakrakra na ebi wo mu so e de amo as grants e de support o adwuma ne keke enti o mu create sa alternative livelihood development program we for more involved in illegal mining. So what you say good, but it was in October 2025 and NDA program ne be kese just say even Opportunity International work Canada crown and the program ni mo almost the $12.5 million babe funde ma omo kua mu Northern Ghana ni ade right. And this article was published by Opportunity International work Canada on the 11th of November 2025. And there is an article I kasa about the October right. I just say we no and say His Excellency former President Nana Akufo-Addo acquired the official launch of the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program for illegal miners. It's this time around or more expanding. Okay, now Attorney General say issue on the chairman to go in and say in the year 2017 our program we shall say no chairman to me and the program we pay loan or Exim Bank. Now chairman to you pay loan or Exim Bank no or can say Exim Bank for me who somebody muhaji alternative livelihood program yama illegal miners. Now make chairman to me wo company na me company no company I just say farms enti Wontumi farms na Wontumi farms no yakwa akwaji asase ye ba do ebro enti mo ma me 18 million Ghana cedis na mfa do ebro wa asase 100,000 acres no so.
In December 2017 Wontumi Farms Limited submitted its application for a loan of 18 million Ghana cedis purportedly to cultivate maize on 100,000 acre farmland and to employ the youth on the farm.
According to Attribution, this happened in December 2018. Now, much as our company at Wontumi, I didn't hear Wontumi Farms Limited. No. At the time, I not Wontumi, Kwaji loan no free Exim Bank for hono. No nya register company no Ghana mremu. Se Ghana man was all register company no. And sana sa kwaji loan bi a kwaji. But omotia based on documents omo attorney na wo no. Ete se chema Wontumi. Time man kwaji loan no. No nya register big company ni ye.
Wontumi Farms Limited submitted its application for a loan of 18 million Ghana cedis, purportedly to cultivate maize on 100,000 acre farmland and to employ the youth on the farm. At the time that the application was submitted by Wontumi Farms Limited, together with a purported board resolution, the company was not yet registered. In other words, it was not in existence. In short, the company did not exist at the time of the loan application by its sole shareholder and director. Investigations established that Wontumi Farms Limited was incorporated on December 14, 2017, and issued with a certificate to commence business on the same day. The principal business activities of the company, as stated in its corporate registration documents, are general farming, agribusiness, and agro-processing. The directors of the company are Bernard Enchibusuako and Thomas Enchibusuako, with Chairman Wontumi being the sole shareholder of the company and also listed as its company secretary. Thomas Enchibusuako is believed to be the brother of Bernard Enchibusuako, domiciled in the United States of America. Prior to the registration of the company, that is Wontumi Farms Limited, Chairman Wontumi wrote to Exim Bank that the board of directors of Wontumi Farms Limited had met on December 9, 2017, and had resolved to seek a loan facility of 19 million from the bank to support its farm project at Asari Nkwanta in the Ashanti region under the Mining Alternative Livelihood Initiative.
At the mention of Asari Nkwanta, it's taking me back to an interview. I just say, UTV4 na yes, I interview. Once a UTV4 queer program bi omo ye farming program bi omo ye, right? Omo ko farm so ko ye di nkomo ni ade. UTV4 program no. Interview no was in July 2018. I've forgotten the exact day in July, but I'll get the video and add it to this. July 2018. At that time, no, omo ka so ma ko Chairman Wontumi efu omo ni ade ebi wa atebubu, ebi wa Asari Nkwanta nti atoni na mention epe e dey kai me say interview no.
I'm for your such a central aha. Asari Nkwanta efu agina mu Asari Nkwanta Chairman Wontumi commercial farms na oye no. Aha, asase a wabeto ha 10,000 acres and odo 5,000 acres na. Oko atebubu amantin so a 48,000 acres and odo 7,000 acres. Na kwan a wafa so aye nafu nya twetwe nkomo ya de nim de kakra na nso pese ye afu bia we de nya nketo o ka mienu no boma 12,000 acres nya asem keto ba nipa na ye te na ba twetwe nkomo twen wa ikodwuma de so twen ho aba ye ba eni afu ra de be di nkomo
conversation no esa yes say Chairman Wontumi e wa Asari Nkwanta no wato 10,000 acres asase a ode ba be do eburufu na mo wado emu 5,000 acres and as oko atebubu so a wato 48,000 acres and a wado emu 7,000 acres. Now so all the 10,000 acres eka 48,000 acres one e be ma 58,000 acres. Out of 58,000 acres no Chairman Wontumi ado emu 12,000 acres a odi aye ebro e wo Asari Nkwanta ene atebu per the video.
We commercial farms na oye no. Aha, asase a wabeto ha 10,000 acres and odo 5,000 acres na. Oko atebubu amantin so a 48,000 acres and odo 7,000 acres.
And so in that same interview no Chairman Wontumi kan says see asase omugina so mo ye video ne de e wo ntrohwe e ho e wo bra half region e ho e no mo ye sa interview no wo e ho no mo che ne buofuo
asisi a me no ka say yeguso a ye nti ye wo ntrohwe Chairman Wontumi afu ane ye we Chairman ye afu 7,000 acres o church process na ye fu aso oman hiase bedibi.
So it means that as I 2018 no na Chairman Wontumi confirm me o video no mu say wato asase 58,000 acres e wa atebubu ene Asari Nkwanta and all I don't know where in Troche and whether it's in Atebubu or Asari Nkwanta, but currently asase omugina so no a part of the 12,000 acres what does so far out of the 58,000 acres that we procure. And 58,000, you and I attest to the fact that it's not equivalent to 100,000 acres. But according to Attorney General, or say, Wontumi, I catch Exim Bank for say 80 million Ghana cedis. So what the manner? What thought as I say 100,000 acres or they quack door. I was so, or quack do bufo, I was so. Sana Attorney General can.
The application letter stated, among others, that the credit facility was meant for a farming venture and that the company had secured 100,000 acres of land for that purpose. On January 16, 2018, based upon the application submitted by Chairman Wontumi, the chief promoter of Wontumi Farms, Exim Bank approved a medium-term loan facility of 18,734,260 Ghana cedis, which included a grant component of 6,768,260 Ghana cedis.
Now, according to Attorney General, Chairman Wontumi, Exim Bank for Ejina and some more catch your monoso. Emma to say, on my Chairman Wontumi 18 million loan. Just say 6 million dear ebaye as grants. San Attorney General Ekaye. Say Chairman Wontumi catch Exim Bank for so kakodas I say 100 acres, 100,000 acres. Edi aye bufu no. On my 18 million Ghana cedis no. So loan 6 million grants.
This offer was accepted via a letter dated January 23rd, 2018, and Chairman Wontumi, acting as the Chief Executive Officer of Wontumi Farms Limited, and Thomas Nchibusiako as Director of Wontumi Farms Limited. The offer letter indicated that the approval of the medium-term loan facility was subject to the bank's terms and conditions.
And so what you Attorney General Samuel Kaina, or say 23rd of January 2018, and or more approving in our demand. But conditions were home, conditions were home, and it said there is a company from IESO. Sa company na be consulting and they are Chairman Wontumi on behalf of Exim Bank. No matter sampa, and you manage Chairman Wontumi ebe what I say, Kiano, Obedo Bruno, or Yahweh, or the so Yahweh, or so the way to her obey. And a company will say friend Eban, or Mona in charge of payments. Yeah, processing salaries. Yeah, documenting. Yeah, capture farmers. No, to see I move it to a digital world. Into BBA related to Sika same BA Baba farms. Ho BA ye too obi kani adie na no. Even for no any be processing our payments. Especially no with respect to salaries. Our metia to workers or more farm ho. And so it was expected to Chairman Wontumi and the workers no information ebeba. Now, according to Attorney General, Chairman Wontumi provide workers information. San Attorney Nakaye said Chairman Wontumi provide workers information. Nemum Chairman Wontumi catch Eban for the massa. Mokra mo pe digital no. In call for illegal miners galam say for you. Omamu nim technology. Into your mama person will be sicker ebeba e wo phone so near the cash. Eti mo ma me cash no. Mukra money exim and mo tria say musika mo na betua workers ka no mo si afia digital almost obeni nje ho ntino mo ma me cash na me ko tua mo ka sana tonjena ekai.
Wontumi Farms Limited was to provide IBAN Capital Limited with a database of all workers, from which IBAN Capital Limited was to integrate the workers on a payment platform. IBAN Capital Limited would then receive funds directly from Exim Bank for onward disbursement to workers. To the workers' wallets as salaries and allowances. Ladies and gentlemen, Wontumi Farms Limited failed to provide a database of farmers, of farm hands to IBAN Capital, as there were no farmers working on the land, no farm hands working on the land. According to witnesses, Chairman Wontumi, as CEO of Wontumi Farms Limited, insisted and put pressure on IBAN Capital and Exim Bank to transfer the 400,000 meant for the workers to Wontumi Farms Limited on the basis that the youth who were involved in Galamsey were not used to complex electronic payment systems and wanted to be paid in cash.
So what it means is say IBAN for any database of the number of people that Chairman Wontumi employee. Now Chairman Wontumi a number and Exim for eja pressure intino omo release scam Chairman Wontumi say ko tue my phone ka no mo ndo asase no mo ndo ebro no mo nye mo edwuma na de no mo release sika no e de ma Chairman Wontumi. Now according to Attorney General no otra And my Chairman to me apply for loan, no, right? Or the invoice be a comma Exim Bank for on the 15th of December 2017. Now, our invoice no say or koto tractors any idea. Sa invoice no our de buy no. That is a Chairman to me by discard the koto side no man based on invoice now or the abano.
Submitted a pro forma invoice to Exim Bank for the purchase of farm equipment, including tractors, combine harvesters, corn seeder machines, and Wellington boots. The invoice was submitted on December 15, 2017 as part of the loan application process. Subsequently, Exim Bank demanded proof that the equipment has been purchased.
Now, I told you that in March 2018, Exim Bank for trade chairman would be training say invoice by so koto no ba community. Am I releases come out? And no man out and who receipt where for chairman out to me and the receipt by.
On March 18, 2018, Chairman Wontumi submitted a receipt from a company known as Kasama Enterprise for the purchase of the equipment in the sum of 4 million Ghana cedis.
In March, there's a receipt, no. So on chairman out to me out to talk to Nyoma, and Nyoma be a bulldozers, excavators near dear.
However, and this is where it gets interesting, the equipment purchase as shown on the receipt included bulldozers and excavators.
But Attorney General Office, investigations, no. Say no, also I did your motion, no. Next part, Chairman to be called company be hot, and Omoko invoice any free company in ho. Never saw Moko company no cotono money de la lie, or man company no man cotono man. It's almost here. And there's a Chairman to me and come back to company now cotono man. Ebani say, and no nyar receipt. Every company corner ho and they come Exim Bank for. Emma Exim Bank for GD year mutia sikano and also we release this scan any match amount. Into mu pay attention to information. There's a chairman to me. I told you that I say invoice or I did say invoice in the free so no the receipt at all so.
Our investigations established that Chairman Wontumi had approached Kasama Enterprise, an industrial equipment dealer, and obtained an invoice with a promise to return to purchase the said equipment. He never went back to purchase the equipment. Instead, and this is where the criminal enterprise began, he forged the invoice he obtained from Kasama Enterprise by removing the word invoice and replacing it with receipt.
It's your papa invoice so and on the receipt at also. Name of Chairman Wontumi editor on the referee year. One send the space no 80. One says omu issue invoice omu man condition say bia oh invoice here ye dia ma wi e bia number of days ye be deliver enyoma ne enie utie sika na ye ma o guarantee we ne de kaka ho e wo invoice so but say enyoma ne any receipt so because receipt there say aye eduma na wie so what you say it's invoice no I told you that church ma to me editor no invoice if you no the receipt to name of sad part of information no coming with invoice there editor ni free we
the so-called receipt had on it, and ladies and gentlemen of the press, this is what gave him away 50 days to supply and 1 year guarantee and service. Now I hope you understand what this means, that when you receive a pro forma invoice, okay, pro forma means that you've taken it with the intention of purchasing. And so they will give you a timeline, okay, within which the supplier will supply you the equipment. And then also if there are any services or guarantee terms, they will be indicated on the pro forma invoice. But Chairman Wontumi, as I said, took out invoice and replaced it with receipt.
It's a turn as you could be sa shopona. Sabasa. Yes, someone among high invoice him at Chairman. Most of the receipt him money, I say, yes, sure. Say they are being editing me or Exim Bank and I say, because you no crab back up. Yet the invoice match Wontumi. But receipts dear, ye issue be man.
The owner of Kasama Enterprise confirmed to investigators of the Economic and Organized Crime Office that the only document he issued to Wontumi Farms Limited through Chairman Wontumi was a pro forma invoice and not a receipt. He stated that after he issued the invoice, he never heard from Chairman Wontumi again, despite repeated follow-up calls. The forged receipt submitted to Exim Bank suggested that Kasama Enterprise acknowledge receipt of the sum of 4 million Ghana cedis for the purchase of earth-moving machines and farming equipment.
Almost an Exim Bank for Susan GD, according to Attribution. Exim Bank for GHM out to be the Sampa, and no one what.
This forged receipt was then submitted to Exim Bank as proof that he had purchased the equipment after the disbursement of the loan facility.
But I'm going to out to be one of my besides the chairman. Now, yes, I got to no fee. Sa company we one money idea. But no man see you. Tractor now, yes, I got to. Yet, any bulldozer says excavator, any bulldozer. Ye who no man, and no man will come out with you. America. Oh, sure. I never wait, dear. Second hand brand new no kotoye. One sa company now. Invoice, any receipt, if you want one come one koto. Name of no koto second hand brand new. I tell you, that's second hand brand new on Tiasia. Now, Mr. Attorney, Mr. Circle for no. What I say? When you need circular, Okukumazia, I saw of his donko, could be some second hand brand new day. Okukufudia, I saw blah blight, or bet your second hand brand new. Could be some money. I tell you, I win him second hand brand new.
He stated during interrogation that he purchased second hand brand new, whatever that means, second hand brand new equipment.
Now, I told you, I said, want to be at this point, be an important question. Okay, so auto second hand brand new, say be auto or PZ, and now auto or circle, and now auto or heifer. And I know a receipt. It's receipt way. According to Attorney General, Chama to be cut and say the receipt in our Exim Bank for.
And that the receipts of all the purchases, including the documents on the equipment, were all sent to Exim Bank. However,
the Exim Bank for some why Obiama a receipt. Chama to be am I any other receipt aside sa receipt now? A fee sa supplier now or body sarcasm. Or my receipt biao.
Exim Bank has confirmed that neither Chairman Wontumi nor Wontumi Farms Limited submitted any documents covering the purchase of the required equipment except the forged receipts.
It's our turn and say okay. And the NBA so we tractors no one better information be at the but we tractors no any machines the one. Ochira ebi mo hono ma ye manufacture as far back as 1970.
In fact, when our investigators went to the ground, they realized that there were some obsolete, decrepit machines on the side. Tractors dating back that were manufactured in the 1970s, and that were not functioning, were the ones that had been placed on the farm.
It's anyway, who is saying, Chema to me, long and short of it on, and they say, or accusing it, so we did for the Exim Bank for. We did for the Exim Bank for.
So this was definitely a grand scheme designed to defraud Exim Bank. It is clear from our investigation that Chairman Wontumi and his company, Wontumi Farms Limited, made fraudulent misrepresentations to Exim Bank with a view to obtaining the loan facility, and in fact did obtain the loan facility. The equipment they represented were to be purchased were never procured. The farming enterprise never materialized, and so no young persons were employed in Asare Nkwanta in the Ashanti region. But more importantly, the company and its director and CEO forged a receipt in order to deceive Exim Bank that they were in compliance with the loan conditions.
According to Attorney General, no, Ochema say yesu, ye di yesu awode wia, omo be di Chairman Wontumi asem 2026. Na Chairman Wontumi no, omo be charge no. Say we defrauded by false pretense. Afa so forgery. Chairman Wontumi ombe charging with 4G. Now must also charging so we're causing financial loss to the state to the tune of over 24 million Ghana cedis. Now no crano, and sure you did bring you see new year we bet me increase because or more calculating interest at the account. So I was no koji free Exim Bank no. Or more calculating interest at the account. Into more calculating na. Yes, it's kind of a cost actually 24 million now on no Attorney General 2D.
These are not mere breaches of a contract, but constitute acts of criminality by no means a person than the regional chairman of the then ruling party. In the circumstances and the face of the evidence we have gathered in this investigation, thoroughly conducted by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, we have made the decision to prosecute Wontumi Farms and its directors with defrauding by false pretenses, forgery, and causing financial loss to the state in the sum of 24,255,735 Ghana cedis. This figure represents the principal sum plus the interest that has accrued so far. And ladies and gentlemen, by the time we file charges, which will be definitely after the Christmas break when we resume work, it might be that this figure would have increased because the interest on the principal keeps compounding. And so we will get the exact figure of the amount that is involved in this, criminal enterprise from the Exim Bank before we file charges in court.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have got 624. Over to me actually our comment section. Like I said earlier, I owe you an editorial on Mr. Kwabena Edubuahin and the Attorney General, and that's a Ghana or my Ghana and Sensemino. Samokaya National Signals Bureau. Director, I me owe more an editorial because Saka court documents, what the lawyer said, what the witnesses said, and they are interested. See you in the next video. Magraheb.